Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the HerStory TV and the HerStory Podcast. This is Getrude Matshe here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating young woman coming to us all the way from Melbourne as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, how old you are, and share your story with us today.
So hello everyone, my name is Moyo and I'm 32 years old and I'm based in Melbourne, Australia. I've been here for nearly 8 years now, but I'm originally from the beautiful country of Zimbabwe. So here's my story. I grew up in the capital city of Zimbabwe called Harare. But even though I grew up there, I was fortunate to grow up in a middle class family, but a number of people around us were not quite as privileged. So my parents were people who were always conscious of giving back to their community. They would take us to children's homes. They would take us to, old people's homes. So we grew up very aware of giving back. And those values stuck with me, throughout my childhood. And I always would tell myself that as I would grow older, I would want to sponsor some orphans to get a basic education to help them have a better chance in life. So fast forward to 2020, I turned 30 and I was like, okay, what happened to my dreams? Why haven't I done more? And at this point, Zimbabwe was not the same as it was when I was a bit younger. And definitely we had more vulnerable children. And pandemics like the HIV and AIDS had really caused children to be orphans. So the orphanages were really full. And at this point, because you have a number of people living from hand to mouth, people were not able to give back even if they wanted to. So I one day went to the bank to try and get some cash. And so we were in the line for a long time. We were trying to, get US dollars. And because, it's a foreign currency, it's a bit competitive to get it. And one man went right in front of the line. So at this point, I'd had it. I was very upset. And I just, charged to the front and confronted the bank teller and asked her why she was giving this man, money. Why was he skipping the queue? And, the rest of us had been waiting in line. And she told me, oh, he runs an orphanage. He needs money to buy food for the children. So to be honest, I did not buy a word of what she was saying. I thought, this is corruption, nepotism, whatever was going through my head. So I asked the man and he said it was true. So he gave me his contact details and I decided to follow up. And my mom and I did go and visit the orphanage. So it turned out to be true. He was actually taking care of these children. So in time, I decided to register my own foundation called Love a Life Foundation and partner with him. And from there, I started sponsoring a couple of children. And I, got other sponsors to come along. And lo and behold, came Grandpa COVID, and life as we know it changed for the whole world. So that kind of, slowed down my fundraising ideas or plans that I had. And living in Victoria, where we had the longest lockdown in the world, it meant that I couldn't go back and forth to Zimbabwe as I anticipated I would be able to do. So I found myself running the foundation remotely from here in Melbourne. But however, I had to find a way. Everything aligned. I started getting grocery drive sponsors. I started getting people donating masks and gloves. And we just were being carried along as, by grace as we went on. And even recently we got a sponsor who sponsored a water tank for the orphanage. So, I can't really complain. There's much more to be done, but I'm definitely proud of my milestones. And I'm just someone who's passionate about, motivating people to give back to their community, mostly the Africans in the diaspora, because I believe that those who go for those who remain, and those who remain go for those that stay. So to explain what I'm trying to say is those of us who came here who may get more than is back home are still able to give back to those of us who, didn't have the opportunity to relocate overseas or go study abroad. Locally, I'm a Rotarian. I'm a Rotarian of the Club of Wyndham Harbour, and I, join my club in whatever initiatives they have. And I'm also happy to have networked with Getrude, who has similar values to me, and I see her as part of my tribe. So I'd say that is my story in a nutshell. Thank you.
Wow. Isn't it interesting how one moment in time in your life can change the rest of your life? Meeting this man and then getting the opportunity to be able to serve all of the children that you've been supporting up until now.
Yeah.
Life is a mystery. Now, if there was somebody who's listening to us right now who's thinking, I would love to go back home and help, but the issues are too big, there's too many children that need to be supported, what advice would you give them?
What I would give them is don't give up on the idea. I strongly believe that rebuilding, Zimbabwe or Africa is up to us. We can't outsource it, unfortunately. So if you can't start your own foundation or not for profit, I would say collaborate, volunteer for organizations doing things on the ground. If you have resources to donate, it doesn't have to be money. It could be time. It could be, clothes, blankets. Is it networking? I strongly suggest let's all network, especially if we're from the same community. Maybe there's something you need in Harare, and I know exactly who you need to talk to. So I would say let's network, let's collaborate a bit more because I believe the more united we are, the more impact we can make.
Yeah, and I think that whole collaboration is really key. Someone can come and support my project and see how I'm doing it, and then I can go and support their project, see how they're doing it. Then you don't feel so alone. This work can be very, very isolating. It can be very challenging, and it ends up looking like we can't achieve big goals, especially when you're trying to do things alone.
That's
So, your life as a Rotarian, how has that changed the game since you joined the Rotary Club?
It's never been helpful because my club has been quite supportive in terms of what I do, and I know they're trying to help me fundraise for a project, an overseas project. I've also gotten to help other people with their own projects. So it's like I know at the moment we're working on birthing kits with someone in my club. So being a Rotarian has definitely grown my network, as well as
Yes.
made me more aware of other initiatives happening around the world.
Yeah. I'm a Rotarian too, as you know. I've just put up my hands to be the Rotary president for an Rotary club. So it's going to be electronic and online. It has people, I think, in 25 different countries. So it's really going to be an exciting 2022 for me. Yeah, I
Oh,
know that.
congratulations.
Now, if you could go back and have a conversation with that young woman who was in the bank and talk to her based on what life has taught you from that point until now, what three nuggets of wisdom would you give her?
Um, I would, or the lady in the bank would let the
Yes.
the man in front. Yeah, I think I would let her know that she could talk to people in the queue as well and make them aware of what was happening, because of course we were already frustrated, as you could tell after standing for a while. So I
Yes.
think she could have just said, guys, this man is take care of vulnerable children. They're hungry, and he really needs urgent assistance.
Mhm.
Like she could have tried at least to talk to the people, but based on cultural norms, I I don't know, it's a catch-22 to get rude, like it's yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And now, if I was to take you into your future and you could have a conversation with the future you, based on all of this amazing work you're doing back home in Zim, if you could sit down with the 100-year-old you, sitting in your rocking chair, reflecting back on your life and on the number of children whose lives you've impacted on, what would you say to that woman?
Well, I hopefully I would say I'm proud of you, Sibo. you've done the best you could have. You probably have done more than you thought you could have, and you've empowered the next generation. And as you're getting ready to close your days, on the earth physically, that is, you've trained enough people who will be able to still make a difference, whether you're physically present or not.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Now, how can people help you? How can people support your project and your mission? Do you have a website, an email address? What's the best way for people to get hold of you?
So we do have a website, but best way to contact us is through email address, because I'm sure, as you're aware, Getrude being originally from Zimbabwe and working on projects, there's that PayPal doesn't directly, you can't send
Yes,
money to
that's
PayPal
true.
Zimbabwe, but we do have a bank account. But the best way to contact us is through email.
So, can you put your email in the chat so I can share it with this broadcast?
All right, sure. I will
And
share
what
it.
kind of help are you looking for right now? What kind of projects are you focused on?
So at the moment, what I'm trying to do is to get the children some bunk beds.
Okay. So, bedding is a big issue. How many bunk beds are you trying to get and how much would it cost?
So at the moment, I'm looking at like 10.
Okay. And what is the cost of one bunk bed in Zim?
Sorry, pardon?
What is the cost of one bunk bed in Zimbabwe?
I'll get back to you. We've been trying to negotiate to get someone to make them, because, background wise, we have carpenters. So I've been trying
Yes.
to, I'm still getting concrete coats compared to just, going to a furniture store. Like,
Yeah, it's
promote
good
local
to get them
businesses whilst
local,
at the
right?
same time. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I like that. Yeah, sometimes just getting them done locally is actually better than getting them buying them commercially, and you're supporting someone in the community as well. So, for those of you who want to help Sibo, we're trying to raise funds for 10 bunk beds. Email her. She's getting quotes to find out how much money she has to raise to do that. What other help do you need, Sibo?
So we're looking for more sponsorship for children,
Mhm.
for some of our children in the orphanage. So sponsorship are welcome. So the school in the city, the fees, unfortunately have gone up to about 30 USD a term.
Okay, wow.
It has doubled from what it was previously.
Yeah, it was
So we
15.
are, looking for sponsorship to help the other kids to get into school.
And how many children do you have? How many children are you trying to sponsor?
So total at the moment, the children eligible for sponsorship, I would say they're about 24. The
Hmm.
other 9 were still working to get birth certificates, dealing with social welfare. So
Yeah,
we're looking for sponsorship for at least, 10 more children.
okay. Siba, why is it important for people to give? Why is giving so important for the future of humanity?
Sorry, pardon?
Why is giving so important for the future of humanity?
I feel giving is important because it gives us a moment to take attention off ourselves, and it just shows us that we're part of the human, what I call the human family. And I sincerely believe each and every one of us is a solution to one problem or the other. So
Mm,
as you give, whatever it is you choose to give, you're helping to solve, or being a blessing to someone, depending on, if you're spiritual, religious, or whatever.
yeah, I totally agree with you there. And something happens when you put focus on others. Something very, very magical happens. My grandmother used to say that when you give to someone else, you're giving to yourself. It's almost like a drug. For me, it energizes me. It gives me a sense of purpose, a reason to be on the planet. So thank you so much for what you're doing for the children of Zimbabwe. It's always a pleasure to reconnect with you and find out what you're up to. And hopefully, I'll be able to support you now that I'm in Melbourne. There's some magical things that are happening here that I want to share with you as well.
Oh,
So
thank
thank you.
you. I'm happy you're here, by the way. Not by choice, of course, your choice. But those of
Oh,
us,
God.
I'm grateful you're still here. I believe you're here for a purpose, but don't mind
Yes.
me. That's how I think.
God works in mysterious ways. So thank you to everybody who tuned in and listened today. If you are a woman with a story to share and you want to come and speak on our platform, please feel free to go onto our website, theherstorycircle.com/registration. Upload your information there. We would love to have you present at our next online summit. And have a fantastic evening wherever you are in the world.